inspiration, my artistic guide. You paint dreams, taking me on a wild ride with your gentle spirit and endless creativity. Ah, the legend will always remember and love endlessly. Every stroke that you make, every color you blend, it's like a symphony of beauty that never ends. So here's my love letter, straight from the heart to Bob Ross, the legend. You're a true work of art. Bob Ross, you're the man, the one and only. Your paintings bring joy like a warm cup of tea. With every happy little tree, you inspire me. Bob Ross, this love letter is for you, can't you see? Bob Ross, my inspiration, my artistic guide. You paint dreams, taking me on a wild ride with your gentle spirit and endless creativity. Ah, the legend will always remember and love endlessly.
Rain in the ticking clock shadow, dance of dust and twilight's glow, chasing fragments of
All right,
fate
welcome.
tomorrow,
Welcome to tonight's creative process. Listen to some cool AI tunes. Still don't know how I feel about these songs, but hey, there's something. So, I was chatting with my partner tonight, and we kind of had this revelation just before coming out here, and like both of us, we want to, we have that business mindset like deeply ingrained with us. Like it's, that's where we come from. Like I've run my own businesses as well, and we're kind of looking at this year ahead, the future ahead, and looking at what we want, like what we want for our family, what we have here in our house, this awesome setup we have in this massive shed here, and we're thinking, it's really easy to just want to create passive income, and these passive tools, like you'll see it, the Canva templates or the things that go up on Etsy, digital downloads, this idea of this passive income where what a lot of people want is to not have to work so that they can spend more time with their families. And I think that's absolutely noble cause, but I think it's the wrong mindset, the wrong way to frame it. Passive income so you don't work, which means that you will set out to do the thing that requires the least amount of risk, the least amount of time and input and forethought, and something that actually doesn't require a lot of unique skills, like doing a Canva template. Yes, people can make money out of it, but I might be wrong about this, but I can't imagine it amounts too much. And I think there's a lot, with this stuff, I'm sort of talking about now. I'm just rolling with it. Like, this is just sort of coming off the top of my head. So, the thing about this creative process and the purpose of this show, as I keep reiterating, is that, look, with new media, with all the YouTube videos, there's always this belief that there is an answer, that there is a destination, that you follow these 10 steps and you will get to this place in time. That's not true. There is no final destination. There is no, you've arrived and there's no like GPS location that you arrive at and then you've made it. And this is the point of the title of what we're doing here, the creative process, is that it's an everyday thing. Just show up, and not to be one of those motivational YouTube videos, but the creative process, that is the process. It's like that old it's that cliche, it's about the journey, not the destination. It's a cliche, but it's also true, and it's true in the sense of what we're doing here. So yeah, because I'm late 30s, almost 40, and I see a lot of people in parental age, parents, and there just seems to be this thing where we sort of got told, go get your degree, get the qualification, start at the bottom of this corporate ladder or whatever ladder that you go on, and then play the game, go through. And then what I find and this is just for me at this age now, but what I'm finding is there's a lot of people who are pretty disgruntled. Like, they've realized that their careers are pretty meaningless and that they are really just selling their time for cash. And the thing that they want the most, career sounds fun when you're in your 20s because there's nothing else dependent upon you. It's what your life is just about you. And there's this funny thing that happens once you have kids, is that you aren't even at the top of that priority list anymore. And so I think what I've noticed with people in this age bracket, it's been really interesting life, because at every sort of milestone and decade, there's kind of like a new twist and a new perspective on things. But what I've noticed, the sentiment now, is that people are pretty unhappy with work, even if it's the career path they've chosen, even they're intellectually stimulated. It doesn't integrate into their lives. And so this is where I'm seeing a lot of my partner's friends. I think her friends they just want to be mums. They just want to stay home, raise their kids, and that's what they find fulfilling. But it's not a popular opinion to have anymore. It's that they're not. People look down on them if they're not a super mum and have an incredible career out there. And so this is where a lot of this, and this is this dark place of the internet, like this Instagram motivational, like this grindcore / you can do anything. Like, you should have 1 million followers. You should be, 6 figures. You should be able to do this all passively. But the thing is, that's the game. That's the grift. Is the people, saying, here are the 10 steps. Here's how you get your Etsy platform going. Here's how you create your Canva template. And, your Amazon affiliate links. To sell that as a solution, that is where the money's made. The money isn't made in these small little trinkets. And so having a chat to my partner, and we're like, well, what are we going to do? We've got all these technical skills. We have a vast background, which I won't go into. And we thought, well, last night we sort of, in the creative process, we watched this video. We're not going to play it tonight, but we watched this, the NVIDIA keynote. And this is a really awesome one to check out. I think it's going. skip forward a bit. But this is a really awesome one to check out because, as I spoke about last night, this is talking about the people who create the platforms in which technology is built on. Ultimately, they set the direction of where all the industries that are built vertically on top of that platform will head. Now, that doesn't mean that their vision will tell us what the next Facebook's going to look like or what the next Google or whoever. That's not the case, because there is creativity in the constraints. But with these platforms, and why I say NVIDIA is a platform is because they have the technology, the stack of technology is built upon these systems. So another way to look at it is in the laws of physics. Yes, there's a lot of things that can happen in the real world, but everything's constrained by the laws of physics. In this AI world or in this technology world, everything's constrained by the limitations of what these big systems can do, these supercomputers. Now, there can be a lot of creativity in those constraints, and people come up with really unique solutions. But as a broad overview, this is generally where everything's going to most likely sit. So the direction that NVIDIA sets, where they see the technology pushing forward, is a really good indicator. In my eyes, it's a really good indicator. And so what in this keynote, what they've spoken about is the next era is going to be about agents, whether that's something that's going to happen this year or in a couple of years. So that's a really interesting thing. What we're going to see is a lot of AI is going to permeate every single class of products, interactions, technology. How that looks and how we engage with that, that's still yet to be written. But we can almost say with high probability that AI is going to be deeply enriched in everything. So it makes sense to set your compass in that direction. But one of the things I get from these big conferences and talking about big tech is this sounds all great at this huge corporate level. Like when they talk about the metaverse with Facebook, these sound great as 10-year visions. But what does that actually mean for people like you or I? Us little guys who are at the bottom and are going to be interacting with these tools, day to day, one-on-one. How is the metaverse going to help me become a better parent? How is the metaverse going to, help me to stay in contact with my friends in real, genuine, authentic ways? How is crypto, other than a volatile pseudo stock market, how is that actually going to help me transact in buying online, or transferring money? So when I look at this, when they talk about agents, and here's the graph actually. Good timing. So when I think about this, this is great, like agentic AI, physical AI. But what does that actually mean for me, my friends, my family, and my neighbors, like right here, right now? And how is this stuff of value to us? And that's the thing that we've got to figure out. And that's the thing with in this creative process that we are going to figure out collectively together. Like I said, this is a process. This is a journey. Like we don't arrive. When we get to a physical AI, then that just sets the stage for the next, upwards curve of innovations and all these new things. So we never actually arrive anywhere. It's just going to be a process. But by the looks of it, we're about somewhere around here. Oh, sorry, I've got to bring it up. We're somewhere around like here on this chart. So it's using that to help frame. There's a good quote by Wayne Gretzky. You need to be where the puck's going, not where it is. Something to that effect. So if we're here, we need to, think for now. what products and services and how can we help people with these tools right now, and to also avoid a solution looking for a problem. So, but then seeing where this upwards curve is going and thinking, okay, well, this is where industry is going to be heading. This is where the zeitgeist, this is where the community is going to be heading. So this is where we're also going to set our line. So I'm really interested in agentic AI. As I spoke about yesterday's session, that I have done versions of this, sort of like simulations on using ChatGPT, where I would have ChatGPT play characters, and then they would act out a scene to a situation that I wanted to solve. And so what did that look like? That was a business. So as I spoke about last night, a person had a business proposal and they were unsure if the market in that area was going to work. So this company, they were looking to set up a wellness center. It had like cold plunges, saunas, and all that jazz. And the way they wanted to do it differently is they wanted to put this in an outdoor area, but they actually wanted to put it in a really beautiful, picturesque, like serene, natural environment. And that was the difference. Everybody else in this market had been sort of retrofitting these into gyms at the back. So you go into these sweaty gyms where you see these big roided up dudes and these chicks with really tight yoga pants, and then you sort of have to sort of squeeze your way through the stench, the high testosterone, and the this hyper sexual experience, but not. And you'd have to work your way down to the back, sort of offset to the change rooms, and there'd be this like proto wellness. But it was really just I guess the way they've looked at it is it's just an upsell on their services as an afterthought. At least that's the way I've interpreted it. I could be wrong. And so this other company wanted to take it out of these like dank, dark buildings and put them actually in nature, because these experiences themselves, like the cold plunge and the sauna, it's really about being very in your body in a very, well, you say natural, but I don't think there's anything natural about a sauna. But the experience of what's happening on your body with this heat treatment, this cold shock treatment, I think it's called, it brings out these primal responses that I've never done these. Well, I've done sauna, and it makes you feel more alive and more integrated and connected with your own system. And looking at nature is a system. We are a part of nature, and so it's bringing that integration back in alignment. It's not thinking of us as this, yoga panted, clattered, roid freak. It is looking at the body more than the individual, more than the group and the community, but the nature itself. Well, at least that's the way I've interpreted it. I could be wrong. I could be just making stuff up right now. But with that, they found a really beautiful spot. It was by this lake, really picturesque, beautiful mountain backdrops. And even just like when you put those words together, it's like if you had a choice between one or the other, and it's accessible too. Like it was only 10 minutes out of the CBD. So there was a lot of advantages going for it. But they were unsure if there was going to be a market for this. So what I did was I took their business plan, their business case and proposal, the type of market that they want to hit, and I sort of fed that in. I said, ChatGPT, now I want you to play this character, and I created these persona profiles. I say, you are a 25-year-old female, I don't know, legal secretary, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I'm just making up as we speak at the moment. And then your partner is a 26-year-old male builder, plays football on the weekends, interested in health. I put in how much they earn, what their wage, personality types. Just build a very deep persona profile about this. And what was interesting about that is then I would instruct it. It's like, okay, this is the scene, this is the business case, which is the full document, by the way. It's not just a summary, it's the full, it outlined absolutely everything, like how much it costs, revenue, blah, blah, blah. And then I'd say, now, this couple are sort of debating whether they want to go to this or not. Really simple instruction. And so what happened when you press play is the dialogue would be created. And so you would see this back and forth, and they would be sort of debating and discussing whether this business was, or this service is something they wanted. And ultimately what it revealed is that they were this simulated couple, they were keen on trying it once, but because it's so expensive, it was like about $90 for two people, I think, for an hour. So it's not cheap. And what the dialogue came up with was that, like, it was expensive, but what they thought they could do is they were really keen on trying it, and they wanted to invest in their health a lot more. So what did they do? I've got to think about these things. It's late. It's almost 1 o'clock, 1 a.m. Yeah, okay, this is what they said. They because it was expensive and they were sort of focused on the health, they wanted to treat it as a day date or like a morning date. A way that they could, it could be like a couple's experience where it wasn't just focused on, having drinks and eating heavy carbs. It was about, let's just do something that invigorates us and makes us feel great and energized. And then they said in this simulation is that, if we like it, then maybe we can think about doing it on a regular basis, like once a month as our special treat and a date with each other. And so what was really interesting about that is, yeah, it's simulated, and yes, it's not based on any real data. Like, there's no real people, there's nothing. It's hypothetical. But what it did was it gave us like a real insight into, okay, well, actually, that could be how we lead this marketing. We could focus on creating like a, forget about the messaging campaign. Forget about, heavy carbs and dates on date night, or Netflix and getting fat. How about we reignite what the meaning of a date is? Like, why does a date have to be about sort of hedonism in the sense of food, wine, and whatever the night entails? Why can't it be on this early mornings, this green smoothie, some fresh coffee, this beautiful open serene lake setting, the sun coming up, and getting blasted with this heat and then shocked with the cold treatments, and your body is just like in this rush, and then you're doing it together, and then after that, with all this energy and this tingling sensation, and then going out and what couples do on dates, after dates, I think it would be much more like invigorating to have sex after that than after some carbonara and 2 bottles of wine. I'm just saying, maybe. So that was just a way to utilize this AI and simulating. So this is where we talk about, like I talk about a lot, this agentic AI. It can happen now, and it's not perfect, and you got to sort of duct tape it together. Like what I did with ChatGPT was to make it write a script, but the script was really just the modality in which the information was presented to me. What I was trying to achieve is to have this interaction take place that I don't necessarily construct or direct these AI actors. I just set the sandbox and the playable area and the guidelines. It's like gardening. I just plant the seeds, water, fertilize, and some sunshine, and then see how it grows, and then go from there. So that was only really a test. I actually never shared that with the client because it's still going, and I was just out of curiosity. But then I just had a thought that then is what I could do is create an entire sequence of these. So instead of just having that couple, maybe I could just find or just select 50 different demographics and areas of the market, and then let those scenarios play out. Then what I could do is I could probably just analyze it broadly and start to look for patterns. It's like, well, maybe overall we can see that most people have this trait in common or this need. Most people want that. So then I could just sort of take out that common need, and it's like, okay, well, this is, a stable foundation in what we're doing in this. Then, and looking at what makes each segment unique and how their stories play out is I could now start to adjust the communication. Let's say the 25 female. Well, I can start to sort of pull from that. Where are these people? Where is that group? Are they on Pinterest? Are they on their TikTok? Not just are they on social media, because everybody's on social media. If you're not on social media, you most likely don't have a phone, or you're a Luddite. You don't have to be a hardcore addicted to it, but everybody should be on it. It's dumb if you're not. And it's dumb if you aren't too much. And then, you can sort of start to write communications. And the cool thing about this is you get like this second layer of AI bots or agents to start writing the communications for all of these areas. So for that 25 female, that this person might be on Pinterest, but their partner, because you don't want to just get one partner or one half the couple, you want to get them both. The partner could be on TikTok, and their interests might align with football or whatever it may be. You write the communication for that, and done. And so you get a lot of the bots to sort of take this framework, and you could essentially just have 50 separate gardens, play out, analyze the results, then get the next layer of like production bots to synthesize that into copy and content and platforms to go on. Then yourself as the creative individual, the pilot of all this, you just go through at the various milestones and various stages in the sequence and just adjust and tweak. It sounds pretty simple, doesn't it? So, yeah. I don't know what I was going to talk about. Oh, yeah, that's what I was talking about, is the temptation to look for passive income. I think passive income it's a lie that people tell themselves that they want to work. When someone says passive income, what they're really saying is, I can't be bothered. I can't be bothered anymore. Because even the idea of passive income, it's like, okay, well, you're going to build some sort of template that's going to be a digital download on Etsy. You and 30,000 other products exactly like yours. How are you going to get it out there? We've got to market it. How are you going to market it? Well, you got to know your audience. Where are your audience? Well, they're on this platform, this platform, this platform. How do you reach them? Well, then you've got to write some coercive creative content. You've got to build an audience. You've got to build a community. You need to build a brand even. What is it about you that's unique? And what is your story? Like, why should people care? That's the fascinating part about this. So the idea of passive income doesn't exist. I think what people are hoping for, well, the goal is, it's like, I have a friend who's a property developer, and he makes incredible amounts of money. However, I have two friends. Well, I've got a lot of friends. Well, I don't have that many. I have a handful of friends, but one of them is a property developer, and the other one is a software engineer, a very high level software engineer too, a big corporation. And I don't really know what to say about this, but the property developer, he can turn like significant amounts of money over. But the problem with his is locked into atoms. Whereas my friends, like atoms, I mean, like you've got to build the house. You can't just like copy and paste the house that you've done, or there's an open source house that you can just sort of copy and paste parts and stick it into yours. Unlike my friend who's a software developer, who he doesn't necessarily have the same larger scales of cash being moved in these big chunks and paying out. He's relying on like $90 a month subscriptions. But the difference is, he only needs to write that code once. He needs to maintain it. He needs to serve the users, support them, support the infrastructure, and keep the lights on at night. But he can copy code from a project. He can open source it. He has to build one building that needs to be scalable to, let's say, 1 million people or more. But he's working in smaller chains, so they kind of have conflicts with each other. Hold that thought. I've got a baby monitor here, so it is late. Yeah, and there's I've got to keep an eye on my kids, like while I'm here. I think my little boy's about to wake up. He's up. I better go get him. Better go attend to him. So, damn, I want to do other stuff. I know he's down. Little legend. Kids are the best. So anyway, long story short, and also like with this creative process, the creative process it's not like a YouTube video where all the answers are perfectly edited, sequenced together. There's no ums or ahs. There's no thinking. There's beautiful diagrams. That's not reality. That's not real. That's just the summation of a lot of hard work, thousands of hours even, in a 8-minute snapshot that is ADD'd and adrenaline fueled. But that's not real either. What is real is this. This is as real as it gets. Trying to figure this stuff out, trying to figure out, okay, what do we do with AI? Look, it's coming. The history books haven't been written. The theory isn't there. This conversation and many other conversations out there, and the thoughts that you're having, that is the theory being written in real time. So, yeah, that's the creative process, and that's why it's so important. You just have to show up and do these things. And so part of what I'm doing is just cataloging and documenting this for waiting here for the muse to send down that aha. It's like, yes, that's it. Because if I was asleep, I wouldn't be having these thoughts. Oh, I might do. So yeah, it's just about showing up. Yeah, so my partner and I are having a chat, and we're thinking, I want to be involved in this AI space, not at the infrastructure level. Also, I've dabbled in that over the years, even around the time that, what was it? Like that first paper about LLMs came out. That's when I was deeply into doing the infrastructure stuff of it. And by infrastructure, I just mean like the deeper coding and training models. There's another story. I'll tell you about that at some other time. But what I'm really interested in now is more so at the for regular people level. Like, how do you pilot these systems if you don't have any experience in development? If you're not even a technology person, you're just a Facebooker. Not just. You use Facebook, the social platforms. But how do you derive value from this technology? Again, the rules haven't been written for this. So that's where I want to be involved, and the thing that I use a lot of it now is solving problems that I have day to day. I'll give you a small example. Is, had a person approach me, want to be a potential business partner. I was like, yeah, okay, interesting. What have you got? So we sort of sat down and I recorded a Zoom meeting, but it was a Google Meet. And why I did that is because it records a transcript. And the person knew I was recording a transcript. I recorded the video. And I said, this is what I'm going to do with it. So what I did with that after the conversation, I kind of, the business idea and proposal and the partner didn't really sit that well with my intuition. So there was just a gut feel. There was just something that was off. So then what I thought I'd do is I would run that through, feed that transcript straight into ChatGPT and then analyze it for insights. And it came up with a pretty balanced view, look, sort of a default optimistic view. And then I decided, I was like, maybe was I being a dick? I might have been too difficult. And I just wanted to get a read on myself and I've made a lot of mistakes in leading teams and working in teams. And I think a lot of it has to do with ego. Not an ego in the sense of I'm better than everybody. An ego in the sense of I've got something to prove to myself. So I'm going to work at this insane level. And I expect everyone around me to work at that same level. And if they don't, then I don't have any respect for them. And that's, so that's not an ego in a sense of, well, it is. So I didn't want to go down that path again. So I wanted to use this as an opportunity. It's like, okay, I just need to reflect on this, but I want to reflect on not overthinking it. I'm listening to my gut, and my gut is telling me, red flags. So I just wanted to get a read on it. And what I did was, I did a psychoanalyzed. I said, psychoanalyze me. My name's Ben, by the way. Psychoanalyze me and tell me everything about my personality profile, good, bad, ugly, whatever. And then I said, but do it under the lens of Sigmund Freud and his theories, philosophies, and perspective on, the real world, the world. The reason why I chose Sigmund Freud is because he's the only person I knew. It was like him or like Jordan Peterson. Outside of that, I don't really know anyone. Well, I probably do, but it was just the first one that came to mind. But what happened was, it was very fascinating. And I have shown this in the other sessions. We actually did this in one of these creative process sessions. And it not only analysed the conversation and myself and the other person, but it gave a really thorough and concise and deeply theoretical perspective on myself. And I learned so much because the ChatGPT by default will just come out with this default, sort of pseudo San Franciscan, highly idealistic, don't want to step on anybody's toes answer, which is good for some things. But when you're trying to analyze and critique something, you need to really go deep and get dirty and gritty with it, which it did. So, and it also analyzed the other person, and it said that they have I'm paraphrasing here, but they were looking for a father figure, and they'll sort in a person like me out as a way to provide structure to their bigger idealistic dreams that are heavily disconnected from reality. They just needed somebody to help ground them back to that. So we had a follow-up conversation, and I sort of had that in the back of my mind, and plus my own reflecting on also what it said about me. I existed too much in the superego, which was this thinking, hyper analytical, not instinctual, not based in intuition, not the inner creativity or being present in the moment, but this hyper analysis on everything, this sort of over controlling micromanager. The micromanager is probably the best way to describe it. So I went into the follow-up meeting just to sort of round off to see where we landed and what's the next couple of steps from here. And so I sort of had that in the back of my mind, thinking, okay, I just need to let go and surrender to that inner intuition. Like, yeah, my analytical skills are pretty well developed, but out of balance with the rest of my psyche, according to this ChatGPT, Freud, analysis tool. And then knowing that he, got looking for a father figure. So I sort of adjusted my language and tried sort of to help support his visions without sort of cutting him down with practical realities, but saying, okay, well, that's a great approach. We could connect it like this, this, and this, and this. For that, let's schedule this out and do this. And then like that. And then what I noticed was that, like, his uplifting energy and enthusiasm was like, it was palpable. It was, you could feel it over the phone, like this buzzing electricity. And I was like, it actually worked. It actually worked. Now, you could say that an empathetic person or someone who's deeply listened to the conversation, what the other person's saying, could do this. Maybe they could, but I couldn't. But anyway, I forgot to plug my Mac in. Things are recording, so I'm going to run out of power soon. So I was going to actually go through what we were talking about. What I was talking about with my partner, but we're going to run out of time. I forgot to bring my Mac charger out here. So anyway, until this dies, which, let's see, well, we might have minutes. Okay. If there's any questions, chuck them in the chat. But what I want to talk about is, like, getting this creative space set up. I've got, got the cameras, but I've also set up this now. So this is my overhead camera in my workspace, and this is actually really cool. Let me just move my head out of the way. Maybe I'll go up here looking down, or maybe I should go down here. Hi. So this is my notebooks. This is my workspace. This is like the little vision switcher I've been using. My little keyboard. This is my cup of tea. I really enjoy coffee, but I can't drink coffee at 1 a.m. So I can drink tea. Actually, well, should we move up here? Yeah, let's go up here. So I don't know where I want to put this little. It's pretty cool because you can see my hands and how I'm talking. Yeah, nice. Just get in frame. This is pretty cool. I've really started enjoying doing this. Like, not many people watch these, but I don't really care. Like, this is really just an archival experiment. I'll have thousands of hours eventually to look back upon and see this process and these businesses developing. But what I wanted to also include this is how I do a lot of my notes. I have boxes full of these books, and just where I write my notes. That was that client I was talking about. Came up with plans. I also work in a science lab, so there's some stuff here about science. What are we talking about? Reagents. TISAB, which is Total Ionic Strength Adjustment Buffer. We don't need to know that. X-ray lab, things like that. So it's a mix of things, but yeah. So this is where what I'll be doing is like going through this creative process. There's not always going to be talking. it's time to thinking. But what I want to just showcase is this is the process. This is what it looks like. It's, sometimes there is a lot of quiet. Sometimes it's just listening to music. Other times it's, even on here this way, like this doodling. Like sometimes what I'll do is I'll just, do some, I don't want to call it research or study, but just put some thoughts to paper. The thoughts that are sort of running around in my mind, sort of put them down. And then what I like to do is just to draw as a part of the process. And the drawing is to help with, there's my tattoo. The drawing is to help take that analytical part of my brain out of the mix and then just sort of sit with it. So that analysis part is, sort of get that to focus on just drawing these lines. Use these pens, these ones. I've got different weights. I find a 0.1, 0.3, 0.5 and a 0.8 are really good. These are my drawing tools. And yeah, it just helps me to, I guess, consolidate and let the supercomputer underneath figure some stuff out. So I think that's going to be it for tonight, because this is going to crap out soon. But yeah, we'll probably end it there. So thanks for joining me this evening. I love doing this and I love sharing the journey with people. I've never done it like this. I've always shown people at the end of a final product or presented, this is how it sort of came together. But this is going to be like virtually a real-time way of doing it. So there's going to be lots of content, but stay tuned. And I'm going to sort of, eventually I'm going to cut it down and just have, I guess, highlight videos, if you can even call that, or standalone videos, because, I don't expect people to watch hundreds of hours of this. But also, like with this, I think I encourage other people to just be, like-minded, just, working alongside and doing their own creative thing as we're doing this together. So, and if, I've got a background as a commercial designer. So if anyone wants any help in, how to use After Effects, Photoshop, Illustrator, Cinema 4D, Unreal Engine, whatever, shout it out to. So that's it from me. See you next time. There's some drawings for you. And this is going to be a big year. 2025 is the year for AI. And this is like the beginning of the internet in 1995. This is like pre-Napster era. We're gonna create the Napster. No, we're not. We're not gonna do Napster, but this is pre-Google, pre all of these things we've come to know and love that are still big staples right now. We're in the next era of that. So the next Google, and however that looks in AI, that's developing right now. It could be you. It could be me. It could be anyone out there. And that's what makes this so exciting. That's what makes 2025 so exciting. So pay attention to the news. Look at the trends. Look at where the general zeitgeist is moving and sort of figure out why. What will they need? And what part do you play in that? So awesome. Thank you. Good night. I'll catch you tomorrow. Bye.